Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button if it's something you haven't done already, because we have a lot of really good content here on the channel covering anything and everything you can imagine in geek pop culture on Daily Cog, Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast. We've got anime reactions, Star Wars stuff, Wheel of Time stuff, all sorts of, great stuff. There's also a bunch of links down in the description box below. Merch on our Redbubble link. LRMonline.com, of course, for all your written news needs, opinions, celebrity interviews from LRM's YouTube channel. And of course, hey, if you want to take LRM or take the GenreVerse on the go with you, all of our podcasts, anything that's not a reaction video, go up on all your favorite podcast apps. I'm Kyle, joined as usual by Cam Clark and Shockey. What is up, guys?
Not a whole lot. Much. Oh, good.
Well, here we are, the big event, the one everyone's been waiting for, the potential best, greatest nostalgia fest since No Way Home, right? I mean, this is you see the grin on Shockey's face. Let me get a big picture of that right there. This is something that I know a lot of people have been waiting on, and but it also showed me that you have to have seen the Clone Wars or lived at least part of it. You need a connection to that, because if you were just movies only, this might not have done it for you, at least emotionally. So quick round the clock. We'll do our round the clock, whatever, around the room. We will go and we'll give our grades, say a couple quick snippets, and then we'll move on. Shockey, you are the big PT fan here. You love the Filoni cartoons and stuff. Tell us what you graded this.
This was an A for me. It was the nostalgic, the finally being able to see a live action Anakin Skywalker in Clone Wars armor, seeing Ahsoka in, not only in what we've seen in the show already, but in her adolescence or youth and her teenage years. It was a really interesting way of how they intertwined, or how they really intertwined the important events of her life. And we'll kind of talk about that, where my perspective is on it, because I think that there's some differences I saw with last night's episode that I think some of the other people watched it on. But I mean, it was just like you said, it was 10 years of being invested into the Clone Wars, being invested into Star Wars Rebels, the prequel trilogies, that we kind of got this moment here. Not it doesn't need to be an entire movie, it doesn't need to be a trilogy. It was just that right there was enough for me, and kind of move on.
Cam, what'd you think?
Yeah, I gave it an A as well. Not really for nostalgic reasons, because I don't really kind of feel that level of nostalgia for the PT as such. But I appreciate Anakin as a character, and I did enjoy the Clone Wars and Rebels. Not quite as much a fan maybe as Shockey, but I liked them. There was some good arcs in there. There was also some crap in there as well from time to time. But I think Anakin was better, a more fully realised character, and because he had more time to be explored within the Clone Wars than he ever was in the movies, which I just don't think the character was ever written well by George Lucas.
No.
So,
shots fired. You invoked his name in a non-positive way.
This felt like more Clone Wars Anakin than PT Anakin, and for that we must be grateful.
That's the secret. Most people project Clone Wars Anakin onto Hayden Christensen's prequel trilogy Anakin, but again, and that is not what we got in the movies.
Like, yeah. Was so much better at playing him than Hayden Christensen. It's just that
There's a better character.
There's more levity. There's just more stuff going on. You just don't get time to really explore Anakin. It's like Attack of the Clones. He's just annoying all the way through it.
It's a love story. Like, it's very, very little about actually being a Jedi. It's more of a love story.
It's a creepy stalker story. It's not a love story.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
she falls for him after he's killed women and children.
Yeah. Anyways,
it's weird, but that's not his fault. It's not our fault. That's Lucas's fault. So yeah.
For me, I don't have any prequel love whatsoever. I plan on never watching those films ever again without serious monetary compensation. That being said, I went into this episode afraid of exactly what happened, that I would be missing the emotional line through. But here's what I will say: technically, from the writing and dialogue for the most part, to the lightsaber battles, which I think were done really, really well. The flashbacks, like everything on a technical level, the way it looked, the way it played out. If these were characters that I didn't know where they came from and where they went, or characters that I had been invested in, I could see this easily being like an A+ level type hype for me. I can see why people like Shockey and even you, Cam, are super hyped on this, especially those that have that dedication to that era. It just missed it for me. That, and there's a few little things we'll get into later. I would have to readjust my whole grading scale, honestly. I don't think I'd rank any episode above a B+, except this one, only on the technical stuff, because again, no emotional stuff. So I would give this an A-. And then like the best that I did before would be a B+, with a lot more kind of being in that C+, B- range.
So you think this was better than either the first two episodes? Because I know, reading a lot of fans of Star Wars, but not like fans of like Star Wars Clone Wars or whatever, they still say that the first two episodes, either episode 1 or episode 2,
I think better. Like I said, and I am trying to approach this a bit from of saying, like, I know I'm missing something, and if I had that, what would it be like? I think it'd be in that A+ range easily. But because I don't have that, and because I can't really, even the little things I might nitpick at wouldn't detract from it if I had that emotional thing. So I'm doing my best to be subjectively objective, or objectively subjective.
Subjective.
Let's talk about the good stuff, man. I wanna dig right on what I had said. Lightsabers. I think they gave this duel of sorts some weight. It wasn't just flashy, spinny stuff. I really appreciated a lot of the imagery with the Vader stuff. I thought was great.
Yeah,
it was cool to go from the blue saber to the red. I mean, that was great. Once again, they're proving, other than their over reliance on the lighting, the natural lighting from the devices they're holding, that, man, Disney Star Wars does do lightsabers better than Lucas did, even in the sequel trilogy. I know a lot of people aren't fans.
I'm with you on that. My only issue is I prefer the look of the lightsabers in the old days.
Yes.
But
I do wish they had light, though, but
superior.
Did you let me ask you guys this, especially the the kind of drawn off side. Did you guys notice Vader using some of those more traditional fighting moves that he and Luke use in Return of the Jedi, and even with the railing and stuff like that? Or, you know what I'm saying? There was like, I don't know if they invoked Jedi on purpose, but
like there was also his little comment. What was it he said again? He said something like I've been asked that before or something like that, and it was because of the Luke in Return of the Jedi, and that was one of the things that kind of gave me a hint that maybe that really was Anakin, because I think there's a debate to be had about whether or what that really that situation
we'll have
was. But we'll
the
get
theories at the end.
Yeah.
So Shockey, lightsaber stuff, and
lightsaber
whatever
stuff
else you might want to talk about. Good.
Yeah, lightsaber stuff was great. The use of the clones, I thought, like, for me being, fan of for the Clone Wars, like we get a distant shot of Captain Rex, you know, in real life, not anything too serious there, which was a really cool, you know, imagery. We got the phase 1 clone troopers and phase 2 clone troopers out of it. You know, I enjoyed, you know, the cinematography of it, and kind of going into my theory a little bit later of the whole thing, but because I know that there was some debates about the whole thing, but no, like there was a lot of little things in there that was just nods to anyone who watched this, you know, the Clone Wars and even a little bit of Rebels and stuff. And yeah, I mean, there was very few things I wasn't happy with this episode.
Was there anything else big and on the good side that you wanted to bring up, Cam?
I think we kind of covered that. I just really liked the kind of imagery of it all. The way it was shot was really cool when they went back to the past. I liked the look of it all. I thought Hayden looked a lot better. They really didn't mess about.
Yeah, do you think they went and re-edited?
I don't know. I don't know. It just looked a bit funky last week when he showed up, and we all said that, and it looked better this week. He just looked like him a lot better in the costume, which is all I ever asked for. You know.
Here's what I noticed: there was still scenes where he had a lot of smoothing and de-aging.
Yeah,
and then there were scenes where it looked like maybe there was just a little. And then there was scenes like there at the very end, of course, where it looked like there was almost none, right? They just changed the hair, maybe did some makeup stuff. But that was actually kind of one of the bad things to me, because it felt very jerky, and I didn't quite know if they were doing something aesthetically on purpose, or if they were just kind of trying to blend different things and hope for the best, and it just didn't work. But it definitely was a distraction for me.
That they wanted them to look slightly different depending the era we were in, because we moved through certain
but I didn't
quite. He only had the Vader touches at the points that they got to where he was already turning to the dark side. Before that, there was none of that, you know.
But the one where you're not sure if they're using de-aging or makeup, and the one where they're not, it kept tearing at me. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was kind of like, it didn't quite feel like they were doing it. It felt half-assed. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Like, they didn't have a solid way to do and show the transitions they wanted, so they all felt kind of wonky. I hate everything with Hera. Like, almost every time, other than sometimes aesthetically, every time she's on screen, it's some of the worst parts of this show.
What, specifically, you just don't like the character? Or?
No, maybe, but also the parts that they're giving her, the lines they're giving, the way Mary Elizabeth Winstead delivers is very. It feels very stiff, and I know some have said, well, that's kind of how she might act and stuff like that. Sure, you can see that in Scott Pilgrim, but it really doesn't work for her. Or, you know, it doesn't really work for this show in my mind. I feel like that's usually like some of the most cartoony parts of this, including dialogue. Even it gets kind of wonkier, and even with Sabine around as well. Whenever it's just Ahsoka, the shit's like on point for the most part. And I can't stand the kid. One, you wasted the name Jason on him. That's freaking stupid, which I already knew before. I'm just bitching about it again. I don't like the idea of a baboon and a chimpanzee having, you know, babies together simply because they're both bipedal mammals. Like, Twi'leks and human, like, the EU discussed interspecies relationships, and they did it in a much better way than, oh yeah, sure, they can have a kid together. No, I hate that. And the only non-human thing about them is green hair. I'm sure there might be something else, but that's all you can freaking see. It's like, man, I could go get some dye and have green hair. It's not that doesn't scream Twi'lek to me. This kid should look a freak with like hair and brain tails. Like, it's annoying, man. They do this big scan, and they even talk about how they did this scan of the area, and then she's still coming down the gangplank like, weapon out there, like she's about to clear something. What are you going to clear? Like everything about that and everything with her, especially this episode, was just awful, especially juxtaposed to what we were getting with Ahsoka herself. There's my bad.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that. I have to say, I think Hera's been actually fine. It took me a couple of episodes to warm up to her, but I actually think that as we kind of got into a more kind of emotional side, that was the kind of Hera that we really remember from Rebels. I guess I could see your thing with the gun at the start, and I definitely agree with you on Jason, that he just, I don't know, I just don't see the point in him. He's like too young.
Shouldn't exist.
And he's at the moment, so why have him there? You know, I know that he's canon and he has to be there, but I kind of don't want to see him till he's interesting, till he's a bit older.
Can he be at school
and he's
somewhere?
Getting a bit rebellious. Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. Like, let's put him somewhere safe while you go on the dangerous missions. I just, it kind of felt like a setup just to have him there for that force connection bit, you know, which I get, but you know. I don't know. I would rather, if they want to do something with him, I'd rather he comes back and after a time skip, recast as an older actor, and maybe he dyes his hair because he's a bit rebellious and he just looks like a human after that, and we'll just forget that he was a Twilight. So that's the way I would look at it.
I'm still convinced, and I'm still sticking to my guns, that Hera was put into this show to be the jump point for Rangers of the New Republic.
Sure.
Because you think
that might mean I don't want to watch it.
I mean, that's on you. Yeah, right. But I mean, I think that's still because the relationship that they're building with Carson and her, because Carson was supposed to be the other part of Rangers of the New Republic. Because even a couple people were mentioning, why not have Zeb, you know, be part of the X-wing squadron and stuff, you know, coming in. And I think that's a part of a different story that we'll get into later on in The Mandalorian. But it just seemed really weird for me. Like the bad thing about me that kind of was like this episode was, why would the New Republic care about the ghost ship and 3 X-wings being off on some random planet, you know, investigating stuff? Like, you got to be like, why would you send an entire fleet to go after, you know, a group of, you know, of a total of 5 people?
I think they're trying really hard to make the New Republic look incompetent because of where the sequels go, you know, which is not their fault, you know, but the sequels have them so incompetent so fast, and have let the First Order build up, and it's not that far away that we kind of need to show why it's not working away in this. But I agree with you.
It was like
too incompetent at this point, you know, and too bureaucratic. It feels like get back to the old Republic where nobody's getting any power and stuff like that already. Like, I don't think that would happen. There would still be a very much a military presence to a New Republic at that point, you know.
Well, that's the thing, is if you go to, what was it, episode 2, episode 3, when none of the senators want to investigate Thrawn, you know, going anywhere that we can't use the resources and stuff. There's no war going on, right? The Empire is in fragments, and you know, they have little skirmishes here and there. So why do you care about 3 X-wings, you know, and the ghost ship with one general and her son? Like, why is that so important?
The worst that happens, you're out some fuel. The best that happens, you prevent
the only thing I can think of is that the Empire are infiltrated in there and trying to influence events to keep people away from what they're trying to do, and maybe they'll get to that later on. That's the only thing I can think of that makes any sense at this point.
But I think Dave included this storyline here as a jump point to have Hera, because now she's gone, you know, she's back with the New Republic fleet. Like, this is going to be, you know, somewhat of a jump point for Rangers of the New Republic if they decide to go that route.
Do you think they'll demote her?
Yes. I think they're going to demote her, and it
gives her more to do, doesn't it? Generals don't really get to do too much.
Right.
I mean, you also
more Jason for Kyle.
Oh God. They wasted the name Ben on Kylo, which was freaking stupid. Oh my God! And they whole movie.
After
no, stop! Shut up! Shut your fucking mouth! I was gonna say the whole reason the Kenobi show came about is because they went, you know what? That really didn't make any freaking sense.
That's
Quickly,
not why
let's
they did
let's
it.
shit all over canon to shoehorn child Leia into this freaking series that is just a waste
Anyway.
of fucking space.
Go on,
Sorry.
Ahsoka.
You guys want to talk about some theories? Because the
I'll
internet.
go first.
I was gonna say. I was going to say the internet's been really like split on one, what lesson is she supposed to learn, and two, what were they going through? Like when they're in a place, what is that place? Is it a memory? Is it semi-physical? Yada yada. Cam, what you think?
One of the things I really love about Dave Filoni when he does these Forcey episodes, right, is that he keeps a level of mysticism into it. He doesn't necessarily explain it all to you. I'm thinking, like, if you think back to like Rebels and the Clone Wars, the Bendu episode, the Mortis episode, you know, you've got to kind of work out yourself what's going on, and fans are still debating the kind of meanings of them. And I think that's the way he plays the kind of Forcey episodes. And I really like that about Dave Filoni, because I like to be, you know, to have debates with fans about what it all means and everything. I think that the clue is that, and I remember the line, Ahsoka says, I won't fight you, to Anakin. And he says, I've heard that before. You know, and to me, that was like a nod to Luke saying that. So if he's got the memory of what happened to Luke, then that really is Anakin. But of course, the debate is, was that Anakin? Was that all just in her head? You know, because she's injured, or was it a force thing, or were they even in the world between worlds to begin with? You know, there's no actual, I don't think, definitive conclusion. But my thoughts are that it was some sort of force thing that happened that allowed her to connect to Anakin, but that really was actually Anakin giving her a lesson. I'll let somebody else talk about what they think the lesson was, I guess.
I don't know. Shockey, what you got, man? And what do you think about the lesson itself?
So I agree with Cam. That was in the world between worlds. That's her in her subconscious, and basically going through these events with Anakin, similar to how Ben would, Obi-Wan Kenobi would talk to Luke, you know, and give him advice and stuff. So not necessarily a Force ghost, but with connections through the Force going through. Because the other thing that was unique about it was when we see the scene with Ahsoka at the Siege of Mandalore, right? And Anakin walks by, he's like, I don't remember this and stuff. This was coming from Ahsoka's memory, you know, and he's coming along with her on this and explaining to it. Now the lesson of it, you know, everybody's kind of divided on. The way I took it is that Ahsoka basically blamed herself in Rebels, you know, for letting Anakin become Vader. That she, by her walking away from the Jedi Order, that she basically, you know, wasn't there for her master, her friend, her, you know, her brother, and she puts, you know, blame on that, and she's afraid that she too could become, you know, as dark as Vader by allowing those emotions typed in. And so we hear the constant, you know, talk about how, you know, Anakin saying, you know, I have a piece of my master in me, and I'm passing, you know, what I've learned onto you, so you have a piece of me in you. And I think that's what makes her fear of fully tapping into the Force, right? And really becoming the true powerful Jedi she can be. Because we still haven't even seen that. I mean, she walks away from the Jedi Order while she's still a Padawan and didn't finish her training. We saw her in Rebels for a little bit. She takes down some Inquisitors, but I mean, she was already very well talented.
Inquisitors dime a dozen anyway.
Exactly, you know, right? So what kind of set that off for me was that she's finally at peace, and she is able to become the person that she is, knowing that she has a piece of Anakin in her, and Kenobi and all the, you know, the previous Jedi, is that her clothes have changed. It's almost like the Lord of the Rings with Gandalf, you know, we get Gandalf the Grey, and so the first 4 Gandalf episodes, white, you know, she's in, you know, in gray, and then because of this event, you know, instead of falling into a pit of fire, she's in the water, she comes out, and now she's in white, and now she's Ahsoka, you know, the white, you know, Gandalf the white, and so it's a more higher elevated form of her. And then she's able to talk to the Purgles and able to, that's something that you have to be fully committed to the Force, and accepted and all that to be able to.
It's using a different side of the Force from what Anakin trained her in the war that she fought in, which was all combat.
Correct.
This is the other side of things completely.
The peace side of it,
just opening yourself up to these creatures and communicating with them in a peaceful and friendly way.
Because last time that we saw Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, so remember the last season of Clone Wars comes out after Rebels, is that she has this dialogue with Captain Rex, saying all she's known as being in war because she came into the Jedi Order right at the beginning of the Clone Wars, and that's all she was told, that she was going to be a protector of peace, and all she's known is war. So this allows her to put that past behind her and really be a Jedi and a protector of peace, but knowing too you're gonna go to and travel to an area where you're probably gonna have to fight against Thrawn and the remnants of the Empire and stuff.
Well, I have to defer to you guys on that because I don't have enough stuff from the Clone Wars to even form theories or opinions. It does look like we're just gonna get Thrawn here at the very end of this, at the tail end, maybe an episode and a half, or the stinger of an episode, and then a full episode, something like that. Probably even less Ezra. I read some spoilers, but I honestly can't remember them. Yay, brain injuries. Did you guys have any other last minute things before we close it out? No? All right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being a part of the GenreVerse. Please do subscribe. Follow us on your favorite podcast apps. Check out LRM Online, where we have Hertz and underwear advertisements. That is such an odd pairing, but LRMonline.com every day for all your written news, needs, and opinions. And of course, hey, we got merch here on the GenreVerse. So GenreVerse merch on our Redbubble link down in the description box below. Shockey, anything you wanted to say?
If you're interested in joining one of our podcasts, or you have a podcast you'd like to be part of this network, shoot us an email, get in contact with any one of us. We'll get that process started.
Yep. Write us if you want to be a writer too. Cam, anything?
No, just take over that. If anyone's looking to, actually on the written side, maybe you don't like being in front of the camera, you just want to kind of share your opinions, we can give you an avenue to do that as well.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. May the Force be with you.